Howdy everybody, I'm Rose Waltz, and I've been playing Monster Hunter for a very long time. I played Freedom Unite back when we used to have to use X-Link Kai to play online. Back when in Monster Hunter Tri I used to plug in a keyboard so I could type faster, and we used to be afraid to say words like after because they were censored for some reason. And back when we played 3G with no English patch right when it came out, and then that never ended up even coming to America, so it was worth it in the end. But the point is, I've been playing for a very, very long time, and I have thousands of hours, and it's been really cool over the years to see just how big of an IP Monster Hunter has become. It's been awesome seeing new people get into the series and the franchise that have had no interest in it before or found it way too difficult to play before. It's super cool. And with the release of Wilds, I'm very, very excited for this new entry. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But over the years, I've had a few hot takes with how the series has changed, and generally I'm a pretty positive person, and none of these are actually too serious or deal breakers for me, but I do think it would be fun to go over what I consider to be a hot take in the Monster Hunter franchise. So without further ado, here's a Monster Hunter Veterans Hot Takes. First up is a bit of a weird one. It's the S.O.S. system that got introduced in Monster Hunter World. I am not a huge fan of it. On the plus side, it does help people join your hunts faster, which is always cool. It means that you'll have people to play with all the time, but it's kind of taken away the community aspect that I feel you got from searching for lobbies back in the old days. You used to be able to just post up a room and say, hey, we're hunting Rathalos. If anybody needs to hunt Rathalos, we'll just hunt it for like 4 hours. Or my personal favorite thing in the world were what is called turns rooms, where all 4 people kind of needed something else or something different, so people would just take turns doing it. And it was great because you would hunt with the same 4 people, or 3 other people, for hours and hours. Whereas with the S.O.S. system, you just randomly join people and then you probably never see them again. There's a bit of that community building that I feel is lost with the S.O.S. system, and while overall more people are probably playing together online, I feel like I haven't made anywhere near as many Monster Hunter friends in the newer entries that I did in the old ones. Okay, my next hot take is definitely a weird one, but it's about the lore. Part of the fun and mystery of Monster Hunter, at least to me, has always been just how little is actually explained about the world, other than like the ecology and the specific village where you're in. There isn't really a lot of overarching information about the world, which means it's a ton of fun to theory craft with people about the bones you see in the environment, or what different monsters being in different habitats means, or what the little quest dialogue means about the characters. It's all a lot of fun, mostly because not a lot is actually confirmed. Even our hunter's strength is, I mean, there are theories out there, but as far as I know, there's nothing concrete about why we're just so powerful and strong. Which leads me to my next point. I really hate when people kind of shit on other people's fun theories. There's not a lot that's confirmed in this, so it's fun to just think about what could be. And also, if I have to hear anyone else shit on other people because of what the far-reaching implications of this piece of concept art the equal dragon weapon mean again, I'm gonna lose it. Okay, my next hot take is kind of a 2-for-1 and probably one of the less popular ones I have. But listen carefully, it's that tripping, the mechanic everybody hates, actually led to some pretty interesting team play in the old games. And as a second part, I don't want to hear anybody complaining about tripping in the new games, like at all. So first off, tripping, it does suck. It sucks a lot when you're with someone like a longsword user or a switch axe user that just keeps throwing out their big, wide-reaching moves, or God forbid one of the old games when you had a great sword user that just did the infinite combo instead of actually charging anything. And yeah, it sucks, but in the old games it was really cool to kind of organize where your team would hit the monster. Blade people would always be on the tail, impact weapons on the head, legs and wings were often just kind of free-for-all once you've done your spot, and you just try not to get in anybody's way. It was a lot of fun, and it made the fights feel like there was a lot more teamwork involved. Nowadays, though, that really doesn't exist, and I think it's mostly because Capcom has kind of a different ethos for how they want Monster Hunter played, but a lot of this is due to the addition of Flinch Free, a skill with one gem, you can just slot in and be immune to most of your fellow hunters' tripping mechanics. It kind of trivializes the spacing and positioning aspect of the hunts, which is fine, I guess. Not my favorite thing in the world, but it is significantly less frustrating when you're playing with someone who might be new or not understand stuff like that. However, don't also complain about it. I know it sucks to lose a two slot gem, or in Rise a 3-slot gem for having to put in Flinch Free, but compared to the old days when we used to have to get 10 of Rocksteady to get Unshakable to get the same effect, it's way, way easier now, and I would recommend just putting in Flinch Free if it's bothering you that much. And finally, my last and probably hottest hot take. Armor skills I liked better in the old days. Back when you used to have to put 10 points in a skill to unlock it, and then there were further thresholds at 15, and eventually they increased it to where there were even further ones at 20. But in any case, it led to some really interesting build crafting, and to go along with that, I also really liked negative armor skills. If you got minus 10 in an armor, it means that you got a kind of negative version of that skill. And a lot of times that meant if you built a full armor set, you'd get that armor set's skills, but then you'd also get a negative. Most of the time, if you're building a full armor set, this is negligible. You can just slot in one of the gems that gives you 1 extra point to boost it from minus 10 to minus 9, so you wouldn't have that anymore. But it became really interesting to build with when you would mix and match different sets to try and min-max as many skills as you could. And a lot of times it was actually worth it to get an extra like 3 points in something at the cost of needing minus 10 in something, and it was your optimal set. It was a lot of fun, and it led to some really cool kind of nuances that you had to do with your build crafting, and it also meant that build crafting was like a lot harder to calculate. We used to have to use Athena's armor simulator, armor set simulator, is that what it was? We just called it Athena's ass back in the day, and that was always a lot of fun to build in and work around what talismans you have and everything, but I will say it is a lot easier to make new armor sets and adaptable armor sets in the newer games, which is probably good when they're introducing content like Elatrion that requires you to switch up your build quite a lot. But I do miss those old armor skill days. And while those are all the hot takes I have, generally, these are just small things for me. I have really enjoyed seeing the No, Nargacuga! I have really enjoyed seeing the franchise grow and seeing people get into the franchise, and I know a lot of that comes at the cost of getting rid of these esoteric and weird systems that us older players loved a lot. And that's okay with me, because if I want to go back to that old style play, I'll just go play Generations Ultimate. That will forever and always be my favorite Monster Hunter game. There is no way that any Monster Hunter game that ever comes out will beat it, and I'm fine with that, because I still enjoy the new ones a lot. And so I hope you all enjoy Wilds as well. I'm going to be having a lot of fun if you're watching this the week that Wilds releases. On release day, and then the Friday and the Saturday after, I'm going to be streaming all day. So if you want to catch some Monster Hunter Wilds, check out my Twitch stream. Alright, I will catch y'all later.